to scale. They had to shut down all of India server for a couple of months because they were seeing huge amount of spike and they couldn't scale it. And after a 6-month ban, they actually started, right? So, I mean, you cannot expect a huge amount of bandwidth that you might get to actually carry to, right? For example, Flipkart, 1 big billion days, they had to literally serve hundreds of servers just to carry to those requests. I don't know how many of you got that phone through that, what do you call that? You had a book within that 1 second or something else. Right?
Flash sales.
Huh? Oh, yeah. And then, yeah, those are the unpredictable bursts that, I mean, sometimes you predict, sometimes you cannot predict. And then there are, and you know for sure, predictable bursting now, actually now Flipkart can say, actually on these days, I'll surely get a big burst, so I will keep up my servers, kind of stuff, right? So these kind of stuff, if you are managing your own data center, you'll be like overwhelmed with the number of requests that you have to get, servers that you have to add. Think of manually putting all the servers for your own office, right? Most of the times it's not the easiest thing to do. So, I mean, like Azure, I would say why not? Today, I mean, we have, I worked on AWS, I worked on Azure, I worked on IBM Bluemix, but nothing comes close to Azure. And most importantly, maybe because I am from Microsoft background, from past 15 years I've been working on it, so I might like it that way. Especially .NET framework, it helps you develop console, web, desktop, mobile apps, Linux and Mac recently. So, and best idea, right? Let me tell you about a small incident, okay? This was in '99 when I first started my career. It was 1-day session. First morning it was on PHP, then it was on Java, and then it was on .NET. Maybe, sorry, not .NET, V6. Okay, first we started, we just deployed on a server, good, wonderful. Then started Java. You have to write command line Java C, I don't know how many people remember. You used to write Java C and so on. And then V6, click, and we're done. From that day I decided I'll never look at anything else and look at it, right? So, I mean, I like something that is quick and easy, right? How quickly you can, today if I have to develop a web application, in 7 clicks I'm ready to start, right? And then database. How many of you use Oracle? Okay, 1, 2, 3. SQL Server. In SQL Server, how many of you use SSMS mainly for diagram, not from SQL console? Right? I mean, I like to create a complete model using the Visual Designer, then writing a select statement, create table statement, right? And that's what actually makes you more productive to get things faster, get things done faster. That's what this makes it all about, right? And when it comes to Azure, it makes all these things pretty much easy. I mean, the deployment itself much easier, right? So there are a couple of options. This is what Azure App Service says, okay? Azure App Service is the only cloud service that integrates everything that you need quickly and easily to build web and mobile apps, any platform on any device. Built for developers, easiest on DevOps, continuous integration, and staging and production support, automatic patching. Okay, these are key things, right? So let's go in depth into the last couple of things, DevOps. How many times you deployed something on a live environment just because you fixed a bug? There is a bug that one of your customers actually told, and you actually went and deployed something in a production, quickly fixed something. And then you went back and actually did the development and then deployed it. Most of the times, yes, we do that all the time, but it's not recommended, okay? But I'm saying, most of those things are pretty much easy to do, because earlier you had to actually ship what? Binaries. You had to give your IT department binaries. They never give you access to their console. You ship it, put it in FTP server or local file server. They actually go and ship it. If you get an error, then you have to go back and give another batch with a debug enabled with all the debug strings. And then you will get some error. Then you go and try to simulate that in your local environment. Most of the times, IS configuration gives you ahead of time. And then, finally, your application is ready. How many of you got parse issue? Right? You guys know the pain. Okay? The first thing that you will actually worry about is, if you are doing ASP.NET, you will go and download a NuGet package. For every controller, you go and put all those cars enabled and all those things. And then you go ahead and try deploying and hope that it works. And most of the times it may not. Because maybe something is disabled on the server or things like that. Now, parse is just one setting. You just enable what you want. One shot on Azure console. Okay, that's that easy it is. Logging. How many of you did nlog or what is the log format? Right? You guys know if there's an issue on the server, you have to ask your IT admin to download them and send it to you, and then you have to go and look into that, figure out what might be the issue. That itself used to take a good amount of time. So one bug fix usually used to take like 1 day to get the data, then debug it, and then deploy it. Now with Visual Studio and Azure Service, you can actually put a live debug statement, and you can debug a server, stop an API request, and figure out where the issue is coming. Right? That is productivity for me. So when you are actually doing all of that, most of the nuances of actual deployment are taken care of in very simple steps. Now, staging and production. Obviously, a production server needs a huge power, right? Like you need a RAM, huge RAM, and all those things. But your staging server takes you just need a couple of people testing on it, right? You need just the testers and your developers just taking it out. Now deploying that, and when everything is working fine, can you hot swap it? Right? That is also straightforward, couple of clicks, right? And continuous deployment. As soon as you check in your code, a build is started on the server and automatically published to your staging server. When you are comfortable with it, deploy it. All this on a couple of clicks, right? Now, I mean, you'll better appreciate this flexibility that we have now if you've gone through the hell that before this, like actually doing it with all the constraints that we have, right? So, how many of you know gated check-in? Gated check-ins are the best thing that you can have, okay? The simplest thing is, there are 10 people working on the same piece of code. Same project, 10 people are working, different modules. Somebody might actually overlap the same page, right? Now, one person has checked in, you don't have the latest, you check in something. How will you know your code should get a priority? Obviously you would expect it, right? Because you fixed toiling right hours and figuring out, and then you went and fixed it. But you don't have the code that someone else has fixed it. Then your code will not compile. The moment your code will not compile, it will throw an error and say, sorry, you cannot check in just because you don't have the latest and the build is breaking. That actually saves a ton of hours of actual work, because that notification will tell you how to go and get the latest, make sure your code is working, and then check in. Again, that integrated with the continuous integration is again a boon. You check in, everything works, compiles, you deploy to your staging server. Sometimes you do a deployment directly to a live server, that's another case, but most of the times you deploy to your staging server and then do the switch. Now, I'll skip this. All of you know about this, right? I don't know about this. Okay, what is actually App Service? How many of you do Xamarin development? A couple of you guys do here. How many of you do Xamarin development? Cool. So, the backend for your service, the biggest thing I think nowadays, almost everybody, at least in the Indian continent, expect is offline feature. I mean, most of it. How many people use mail on your phone? Almost everybody, right? It's offline. The moment you go onto your application, even though you don't have connectivity, you have all your mails. You expect that, right? Now, when you're building an app, that should be the first thought in your mind. Like, how can I make most of the data, most of the relevant data available offline, right? I've been building mobile apps since like 2009 kind of stuff, right? Since 2009, I've seen many applications demanding offline, but nobody has a good solution for it, okay? But very recently, I mean like last one and a half year back, Microsoft came up with something called offline sync. You should allow your consumers, especially if you're doing a field sales kind of applications, right? A guy goes to a consumer, he fixes something or gets some red data, and he doesn't have internet connectivity. It should allow you, the application should allow you to store the data locally. When you have connectivity, it should sync back. And most of it should be happening automatically. That's the expectation. So, I was working with one customer who was actually doing all these tractor sales. Okay, these guys go to all those remote areas where obviously you cannot expect a 2G also, and their biggest problem was having this data synced across. And the moment they come back, most of the times they actually switch to a paper-based stuff, come back and write it when they have internet connection. That was the scenario before we got in, and we made a very simple application with Azure services. So the mobile apps, when we are saying, obviously it is not a mobile app per se, but it's the services that are required for mobile app to work. The key components of any mobile app nowadays is push notification, offline sync, and the backend database to be robust enough, right? So Azure App Service takes care of that. And then authentication, my bad. Authentication is, say, you have an ED authentication for your office stuff. Same thing should work on your phone. Say some applications require, say, GitHub link, GitHub access, or Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, any of those things. OAuth access pretty predominantly. Those things are pretty much easy to integrate with the services that mobile app services provide. Logic apps. This is like a zero code integration that you do. Say for example, when a successful registration happens, you need to send a mail or you need to send an OTP to a phone. There are applications that give you these access in a very simple way, right? SendGrid, Twilio. You can think of any applications like that. Most of them give you a simple set of APIs that you can integrate with your application much faster. So those are the logic apps. And API apps and web apps, there's a bit of a difference. And most of the times if you're writing a web API application in your normal day-to-day life, it simply adds all those MVC stuff, right? The views, controllers and all those things. Obviously you don't need them if you're doing a simple web API, right? So the API difference between a web app and an API apps is very simple. It doesn't have all the clutter of a simple ASP.NET application. It just works with the API console and you don't need anything else, right? You can still go ahead and add if you want, but the goal of this is a reduced version of your ASP.NET framework that works, that caters to your APIs only. Okay, how many of you use Swagger? This is de facto standard right now. Earlier, with ASP.NET 4.5, we had API help. It used to be your normal console. I mean, like you click on it, just it will tell you what it is, but it doesn't allow you to test and everything. And there was somebody who created a small test console within that same page. You insert and you'll be able to test that console and all those things. But Swagger, I mean, to do that help part, you needed MVC views and controllers, right? With Swagger, it's just one DLL that you add, and it takes care of building a UI for you, and it doesn't have any requirement of MVC at all. So that's the beauty of API apps. Okay. Now, why are we so much talking about websites? I mean, like app services. You can still do everything with a virtual machine and with cloud services. And you can, whatever you think of doing in web mobile services, you can do it in either case also. But the ease of development and managing things is much more reduced when you're using Azure App Service. We have a couple of deployments on Azure App Service with Node.js because we didn't have expertise on that, and it was giving a pre-built module, and everything was working. So we never looked at what are the internals. But you deploy an app service with a Node.js, it works. There was a, I don't know how many of you remember Context IO. Context IO is one of the mail services that we use. That as a PHP module, it gives an SDK and a PHP, REST APIs. So we didn't want to get into the internals of it. We just deployed it on Azure App Service with the PHP module enabled, and it works. Right? So you see this gallery part. The gallery is, you need a WordPress website or anything else. Obviously, if you are doing it on your own, you need to go and deploy your MySQL database somewhere, and then deploy your this one, configure everything, and then push it. Deploying a WordPress app, WordPress application on Azure App Service is like 3 seconds. You can do 3 clicks and you're done. After that, you just go and set what name you want. Internally, it maps all your SQLite, MySQL and everything internally, right? So there are a couple of things that are pretty much easy to do. But the crux of the application is you don't have to manage any of these services on your own. Today, your app actually, like the very first thing I talked about, right? You have a unexpected burst in requests, right? Leave requests most of the times, they tend to happen when you, at the beginning of the year, right? You know, you'll actually figure out which of the days you get a long weekend and you block it first. And first of the day you'll have it, next couple of days you will not have it, right? But so, I mean, this is the simplest application. Big Billion Days, Amazon, all those offers are not Amazon, what is that? Great Indian Sale or something. So obviously they expect those huge number of requests on those 3 days. So how will you have a simple application. Yes, you have a simple API. The same API today it is handling 100 to 200 requests a day. On that day it might actually request 10,000. So your server, automatically, you can actually put a setting in your server. It says, if there is an increase in CPU, like 80%, spin off on another instance, up to 20 instances or 100 instances, depending on this one, and when the requests go down, you turn off all of that. Now, think of this thing actually doing it on your own data center, right? That complexity of managing building an actual load balancer and everything, and making sure all of them work seamlessly, that much of complexity is taken out of your hands, and they manage it within their own environment. Now, a lot of people prefer the first one. I have seen, despite a lot of people telling do the other way, a lot of people still prefer virtual machines because they want to feel that control. Okay, and not just that. The important thing is you want to manage your data somewhere. Say most of the times there are some instances where you keep your data center, database in-house on-prem, and host something on a virtual machine in a cloud. Okay, for that this is the best thing that can happen. And most of the times, if you are still working with some of the ASP applications, not ASP.NET, ASP applications, there are a few of them, and they have these ActiveX controls which are working wonderfully, and people don't want to change. Believe me, there are people like that. There are some applications like that which are like, which they use day in, day out, and they are legacy, but there's no alternative for it because the guys who build that application are no longer interested in managing it, but it works for them, right? So those kind of applications, if you want to deploy, virtual machine is the way to go. Ease of management, obviously you won't get it. Agility, you will not get it at all. Cloud services. Cloud services is it's a mashup between those two. Here you will get actually a little bit of control. You will get access to a VM, but beyond that, what you have, your network infrastructure, you may not get it. But your VM, you will get access, right? That VM, through that you can actually manage your legacy applications. There's a little bit of things that you can control, which most of the times IT guys would love to do that, right? So, and I know a couple of deployments like this, which work wonderfully, okay? But in the current scenario, you really don't want that kind of scenario, that kind of control. If you really don't want that kind of control, you just want somebody to take care of it, you just want the application to work, the best thing that can happen is the Azure App Service. Okay? So let's go through a small demo. Oh my bad. I think I hit the... No, it's my system. So what I will do is I'll just create a simple web application. How many of you have free Azure account? Good. Microsoft Dev Essentials gives you $25 every month for 1 year. You can deploy, but please make sure you can deploy whatever you deploy, you turn it off. Because within a couple of days, you'll get a $25 limit and you'll be going on. So what I do, I usually create a test account. Go ahead and deploy this. It requires your credit card. It actually charges 2 rupees, which will never get credited to your account. But it's just, they won't capture that amount. Just to verify that you're a legit person. $25 is good enough for test, deploy a database, deploy a couple of applications. There was one time, one of our customer who was doing, what do you call it? Email parsing. Okay? Email parsing, right? A mail comes to your mailbox. It takes that data, it downloads a PDF file and uploads it to another server. This server was running wonderfully on a $25 account. Okay? It's possible. So, and it's like your AWS giving you 1 year free service with a low, what do you call that? Limited server capability. It's something similar to that, right? But again, the first two things that I talked about, like legacy, VM and everything, you can do pretty much good in your AWS also. The app service is only specific to Microsoft parlance. A lot of people love it just because it's very easy to use, right? It's coming up. I accidentally pressed the switch off button, so it's coming up. Okay, so how many of you deployed app service in your live environment so far? One. Nobody has tested it? Okay. You'll love it because in past 7 deployments of 7 different companies that we have worked with, that's the only thing that we have done. Okay? Think of it, most of the entrepreneurs that come to us, we had a program called Your V1, your first version. We'll develop it at a lower cost and we do mobile, Android and iOS applications within 1 month. That's our goal. No UX, no beautiful UX and all. Functional app that you can take it to your customers, get it tested. Once you're good to go, you can go ahead and do this. For doing this kind of activity, it was like easiest thing to do for us. And they actually went live the full-fledged product a couple of months ago. Sorry about that. We are doing it then. 20 minutes, right? So, okay, while it starts out, how do you do Xamarin development here? 5 of you raised your hands, right? What are the steps that you do usually when you want to do a server side and the client side? What are the things that you usually do? Anyone of you?
We don't have an integration with an API.
Okay.
The application currently is completely offline.
Okay.
So we use SQLite for the backend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all based on JSON. So there's
okay. So there's no server side interaction. Anyone of you others? Same.
The same thing.
So how do you pull the data out of it?
It's manual. We actually push a JSON file. You have to connect to the computer.
Okay.
It's between app to app. We have a desktop app. From
okay.
there we push the data into the mobile's memory, and then from there it goes into that.
Okay. That's the first thing that we have.
Yeah, that's part. Me too. This kind of thing. First time I heard. So really thinking very.
So, I mean, the simplest thing that we have seen such for the such applications is Dropbox. Okay, Dropbox is a simple API which allows you to deploy the code. I mean, the offline. They have some part of offline. It allows you to save the file locally, and it syncs to your Dropbox. I've seen one customer actually pulling out the information and syncing their database with the Dropbox account.
Yeah, but we wanted it to work completely offline.
Completely offline, yeah. It works. I mean, that's another
He
solution.
has to still log into his Dropbox and then download that particular file on his phone, and only then he can access it.
Okay. Cool. That's good. There's some bit of time. Just go down. Sorry about that. So how many days it takes for you guys to say, a customer gives you a requirement, you want to build a POC, you need a database hosted somewhere, you need an API server hosted, and a simple AngularJS application hosted. How many of you do AngularJS development here? Good. So, if you're doing AngularJS development, obviously you don't need a server, right? You guys understand that. I mean, like, you don't need a hosted server. You can do it on your local machine. I know a team which has actually deployed this on a S3, Amazon S3, a file system kind of based system, where they have an index.html hosted, a complete application working on S3. Reason is, it doesn't need anything else, right? That's the beauty of AngularJS 2 applications, right? So, the server that where you I mean, like, you can actually build an offline capability to that also in AngularJS, so that once it is downloaded, you don't need to connect to server again. And most of your interaction with the server happens through APIs, right?
Yes.
Right? So you don't need, I mean, like, you cannot get that many hits to your server at all. So it can actually scale to hundreds of users without a single spike in your server. That's the beauty of AngularJS 2. So we have a team in-house which does AngularJS applications. For them, if I give a set of APIs, they just go ahead and zaply put it across very easily. So the customer was zapped to see in a day, morning we had a talk, afternoon these guys started, next day morning when he came for a next round of discussions, whatever we had discussed was ready. On both iOS, Android and web, right? That's the beauty of it. So that's the swiftness I'm talking about when it comes to deployment. Okay, it's time. A lot of stuff I should have. Huh? Yeah, it's extended. I don't know why I pressed that stop button.